Ladies and gentlemen, I am incredibly excited to see all of you here. Today, we have something very important. It is so important that I am wearing sunglasses inside. That is how important you know it will be. We have the demo lesson for the third intensive speaking course, which is by far the best, most planned, most consistent, most helpful, most guiding out of all of the speaking courses that we have done so far. Mr. Shahzad and I have put so many hours sitting together in front of our desks and thinking, how can we make the student experience as good as possible, as comfortable as possible, and as productive as possible? We want to make sure that you get the best possible results. And even though no speaking course has ever and will ever give you any guarantees about what your grades will become and what your band score is going to be, I feel confident in saying that the materials in this course are enough for you to raise your band score by a whole band. All the guarantees that you've seen, like you go somewhere in Uzbekistan, any place, you see 3 months, you get band score 7. All of those are lying to you. They don't know what your band score will be. But I know that by following the resources and the materials and the instruction in this course, you are going to raise your band score to what you need it to be. We have compiled a lot of stuff. We have made this course as effective as we could, and here we are today. And I am excited to be here, excited to see all of you. I am taking off my glasses. That is how excited I am. And I'm putting on my teaching glasses because we are going to be learning today. We have a great lesson. We have prepared all the materials. I'm going to be sharing it on the screen in a second. But yeah. Thank you all so much for joining me. Thank you for being here. Thank you for participating and for listening to my monologue right there. Please raise your hand in the chat if you can hear my voice. If you can hear me speaking, please raise your hand so that I know that you heard my whole monologue right there. Raise your hand in the chat. Raise your hand, ladies and gentlemen. I want to see those hands raised. I want to see all of your hands, all of them. If I see somebody and it says listening instead of raised hand listening, then I'm going to be upset. And you don't want to upset me. You don't want to know what happens when you upset me. That's a joke. But anyway, yeah. Great. I see some hands and I am excited. Very, very excited. Let me make a post so that everybody is joining. One moment. Bang and shebang. Okay, that's 1 and that's 2. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Share screen and intensive speaking course. Oh, yeah, I think we're good. Are we good? We should be good. All right, that's 1 and that's 2. Wait, oh, how do I make it fit? Man, this can be difficult sometimes. Okay, there we go. Perfect. So once again, please raise your hand if you can see the screen, my monitor, because this is important. All of the intensive speaking course lessons are done in this format. I have a presentation with a lot of information, a lot of skills. We go through it. We talk about all the parts of the presentation. And then after that, I send the presentation into the group so that you can learn the extra vocabulary there. So if you cannot see the screen, that is a problem. Raise your hand if you can see the screen. Once again, just like put it down and then raise it again so that I know that you can see the screen and that everything is working perfectly fine. Please, I need to know that everything is working. Please, I'm stressed. Guys, is it working? Okay, cool. I think it is. Good. So welcome to, as I said, once again, the intensive speaking course number 3. Today we have the demo lesson and we are going to be talking about the topic of education. That is the vocab topic for today. Every single lesson in the intensive speaking course has several parts. We go through several different parts of the lesson. We do some fun stuff, some learning stuff, everything together. For this course, we have changed some of the elements and you're going to see that. If you have been part of the other intensive speaking courses, you should know that the structure is somewhat similar, but it's different. At the same time, the materials are all different. So if you have been in the other intensive speaking courses, this speaking course is going to feel very natural for you. It's going to feel more comfortable, more interesting, everything at the same time. Let's get into the vocab topic. I'm going to slow down from my advertisement voice into my teaching voice. Hopefully this is more pleasant and easier to listen to. Today's vocab topic is education. This is a topic that is personally for me very interesting, and it is also a topic that you are going to find on your speaking test. We have some new questions from the Speaking Assistant app. As you can see, new topic, 2 topics to get today. Learning languages, which is September 2022, so today is November, and April 2023. So from now until then, and also the second topic, which is learning new things. Generally, the topic of education. We have some vocab, which we're going to get into right now, so let's do it. The first word, which is actually a phrase, is mastering some new languages. Generally, the word mastering is a great word for you to use for languages, master a language. Also, a good word is command. So you can say command the English language. I'm going to put that here, command. So great verbs, and this is kind of like a collocation to use with a language. If you get any question like this, put that in there. Speak with great ease. This word right here, it is not easy, it is ease. I'm actually going to, 1 second. Every single time we go over a word, I underline it and I make it bold so that you know that this is a word that we discussed. Because as I said, some words we don't really talk about. They are just for you to learn. They are extra vocabulary, but this is the main vocabulary in the lesson. 1 sec. Okay, speak with great ease. Next is predominantly spoken. So this word right here, it comes from the word dominant, which means like main or most important. So predominantly spoken means the language that is the most important in some part of the world. For example, English is predominantly spoken in Australia, the UK, and the USA. So it's like spoken in some part. Intriguing language. Intriguing and fascinating are both really good words. I recommend you to learn them. They just mean interesting, some kind of word that you want to know, or some kind of something that is interesting. Intrigue, also intrigue with an E, means like whenever there's some kind of controversy or something interesting happening. Next is attempt to learn. I say attempt when I'm saying something, when I'm saying it slowly, but when you're speaking quickly, you actually remove the P. So you don't say attempt, you say attempt. Just attempt. So I'm attempting to something. The P goes away. Whereas whenever you're speaking slowly, at least for me, I say attempt. It sounds a little bit strange, but that's the way English works. Whenever you speak quickly, it sounds different. Next is widespread use. Widespread use comes from the word widespread, which means like wide, right, everywhere, and spread means go places. So widespread means it went everywhere. So widespread use of English, for example. This is like an example sentence. Next is numerous benefits. The main word here is numerous, which means a lot. Numerous is actually a direct synonym, almost, of the word many. So you can use this for your speaking, or for your writing task 1, writing task 2. Numerous is a great word. Learn that. Next is oral skills. Oral skills comes from the word oral, which means to say something. It's related to the voice. And so oral skills are like how good you are at speaking, for example. Another way that you could put this is orator. I'm actually going to write that down. Oration. Let's say oration skills. So it means like how good you are at public speaking. Next is articulate. Articulate means to speak fluently and coherently, literally as it says there. Let me show you the difference between something that is articulate and not articulate. By the way, why I pronounce that differently. This is something that we're going to cover in the speaking course, but there are 2 types of pronunciation. There's like verb pronunciation and noun pronunciation, also adjective pronunciation. In this case, we have the word articulate. Articulate. Late is the stressed syllable. It is the most important syllable. Whenever you want to use this word as an adjective, Q becomes the stressed syllable. So the difference is articulate, articulate. 2 different sounding words. It is the same word, but it is pronounced differently depending on what part of speech it is. Once again, articulate, articulate. If it sounds like I'm talking about very many topics, that is because I am. All of these things are going to be covered in the speaking course one by one. We have all the topics prepared, and every single lesson we talk about one topic. Today we're going to be talking about speaking part 2, so stay tuned for that. Once we finish all of the vocabulary, we're going to be talking about speaking part 2, how to prepare for speaking part 2, and how to plan your speech. These are the most important things for speaking part 2. Next is the word eloquent. Very nice synonym. I love the word eloquent. Another word that is connected to this is elocution. I think that's the way you say elocution. Elocution is like connected to it's the noun. It's the idea of the word eloquent. Eloquent means somebody who can say their ideas well, right? So whenever instead of saying I went to the supermarket, you say I took a detour to travel to the department store where they sell food, for example. So that's like trying to sound smart. And eloquent generally means somebody who sounds well, somebody who sounds smart in terms of speaking and writing. Expressive. If you have noticed during this conversation, my mouth, my face, my hands, they're moving a lot because I am being expressive. I am showing you my thoughts, my feelings, and my ideas more than just with my speech. That is being expressive. That is also, by the way, a topic that we're going to cover in the intensive speaking course, because being expressive is much more important than speaking correctly in the IELTS speaking test. The IELTS speaking test is really not about being the smartest grammatically or being like a genius speaker. It is about expressing your ideas to the examiner very well. That is the main thing that you should do. And that is something that we cover in the course. We talk about how to make the examiner like you, I guess. We can call it like that. That's not really something we do. Like I'm not, one of those relationship coaches that tells everybody, how to be friends with everybody. But it is important. It is important. And when the examiner is friends with you, when you feel like you have a good relationship, you're going to get a better mark. There are thousands of testimonials about this. A lot of people say this. I say this myself. And actually, I took the IELTS test 2 times. The first time I had a great examiner. The second time I had a terrible examiner. And I was much more stressed the second time. You need to have a good relationship with your examiner. Let's continue. Communicative. Communicative is the adjective connected with the word communicate, but it's not like, it's basically somebody who likes to communicate. Willing, eager, or able to talk, basically. So somebody who wants to communicate, that is the word. Expansive. Great word, beautiful. I recommend you to use this on writing part 1 as well. Expansive comes from the word expand, which means to become bigger. So something expansive is something that covers a lot of area, covers a lot of place. You can use this to talk about physical space, which means like a building is expansive, a city is expansive. Tashkent and Sergeli are expansive. Or you can use this to talk about knowledge or ideas. For example, expansive course. You could technically say that. Yeah. Expensive means a lot of information, a lot of space, a lot of something. Next is to acquire a language. One second. To acquire a language. So this is different from learning a language. It is similar but different. Basically, acquire means to learn without learning. Like when you go to the street, imagine you live in the USA. You go to the street every single day and you talk to people that sell you something, right? Talk to people that sell you your products at the grocery. Every single day, they say, hello, how are you? Every single day. And then 2 weeks later, you see someone in the street, you see your friend, and you say, hello, how are you? You didn't have to learn that. You just heard it over and over again for 2 weeks, and then you understood that that is what people say when they see each other. So that is acquiring a language. That is the difference, and that is something that we actually also not only learn during the course, we use this during the course. I'll tell you how a little bit later. Next is to convey knowledge. So convey comes from the word, maybe you know this, I think the word is the same in Uzbek or Russian, conveyor, right? Conveyor is like one of those instruments that goes like this, and you put something on it and it goes, right? That's a conveyor. So when you convey knowledge, you don't necessarily put knowledge into somebody's head, you convey it. So and the knowledge goes directly into their brain. That is the difference. That is what convey knowledge means. You can also convey an idea or a skill. Next is, we're going to skip this, language proficiency. Great word right here. I recommend you to learn this word, proficiency. Another form of this word is proficient. Proficient. Proficient means good. Proficient means skilled and able to do something. Here it says a high degree of skill. Exactly, expertise. I'm also going to underline that. That is a good word. So proficient means basically good at something. And whenever you finish this course, you can say, I am proficient at IELTS speaking. Let's continue. A couple more words. I think these two. Approachable. Oh, here we go. To pick up a few basic words. So to pick up and to acquire are actually synonyms. One moment. Pick up and acquire are synonyms. So, for example, you can say, I picked up some Chinese when I lived in the Guangzhou province. That means you learned some words without necessarily learning them. Or maybe you learn them, doesn't matter. Pick up means learn, another synonym. One thing, though, keep in mind, do not say, I picked up English, because that means that you learned like little by little over a long period of time. If you're talking about English, just by participating in this course, you are no longer picking up English. You are learning English, or you are acquiring English. Pick up is only small things, very small amount of language. Approachable is a person who you can talk to. It comes from the word approach, which means the way to something. For example, the approach to learn a language, the approach to studying something, the way to do something. Approachable is somebody who you have a way to talk to. It's easy to come talk to them physically, literally. Like if somebody is sitting like this, there's no way to come to talk to them because they're not going to look at you. But if they're sitting like this, they are relaxed and you want to talk to them. So that is somebody who is approachable. And lastly is the word agreeable. It comes from the word agree. If you notice, able, wait one sec. Oop. Able right here means that something is, some kind of object is connected to the word right here. So agree means to say yes. Agreeable is somebody who says yes. So for example, you can have a person, right, who you are friends with, and they never say, let's go hang out. Like you tell them, hey, let's go hang out. They tell you, no, I have work. They don't want to hang out with you. Not agreeable. Someone who always says yes, they are an agreeable person. So this is to describe a person. If you're describing an object, agreeable object or agreeable situation is a situation that you agree with. So something that you think is okay. Agreeable means something you think is okay, or a person who says things are okay. That's it. So that's it for the vocab part of today. These are the words that we discussed together. There are also, oh wait, pause. No, that is not it for today. There's some more vocab we have to cover real quick. Here is more complex vocab. We always have different sections. So I pick out like just topic related vocab like this, for example, education. These words are, some of them are collocations, like band 9 collocations. Some of them are just topic-related vocab. Here we have mainly collocations or some kind of difficult idea. So this one right here is means of communication. This is a great collocation, great phrase. You should use this if you get this topic. It is describing the way to talk to somebody, like physically the way. For example, to talk over the phone, to talk over email, to talk over Skype, for example. I love Skype. And any kind of way of communication is called the means of communication. Great phrase, recommend you to use it. To the best of my recollection comes from the word recollection, which means to remember something, to recollect it, to collect it once again. So remember something. To the best of my recollection means as far as I remember. Let me actually write this down. As far as I remember. Both of these are great phrases. This is the phrase that you're going to use whenever you begin your answer to some kind of question, right? The examiner asks you, when is the last time you ate cheese for breakfast? And you're going to be like, cheese, oh no. To the best of my recollection, I ate cheese today. And it just gives you some time to think about your answer because it's a long phrase. To the best of my recollection. Almost 10 syllables. It's a lot of time. And lastly, here we go, to have a good command of. This is a word that I told you about a little bit earlier. Command a language. It means to be able to speak that language, right here. Have a good command of some kind of language. Regardless of the topic of conversation, next word. This is a great collocation that means it doesn't matter what the topic is. Regardless generally is a great word, which means it doesn't matter what, something. So yeah, great word, learn it. There's different situations for you to use it. Make the most of. This means to use something as much as possible. Something like important, you use all of its parts. Make the most. So literally you are physically taking like the most good part of something. And lastly is polish up. Polish means like whenever you have some kind of, for example, car or something metal, and you're like going like this to make it look nice. It's like shiny. The light is bouncing off, and you can see the light in it. Like when you have a new car, for example, once again, you clean it and it looks shiny. So that means polish. And when you polish up something, you make it better. You improve it. It's like the final part. Give me a second. Let me drink some water. So now here we have some words that you can learn on your own. You can learn this later after the lesson. These are words that we're going to be using today, though. Here are some words to describe a good teacher, and here are some extra vocab just connected to this topic that I think is useful. So we have finished the vocab part of today. Now we're going to move on to the next part. Here's what we're going to be doing. I have some part 3 samples. So here we have learning languages. Let's start with this one. I'm going to be answering these questions myself. I'm going to be answering these questions myself using the vocabulary that I have just taught you. I'm going to use them in the speech. So let's do this. Mr. Shahzad, are you here right now? Please say hello if you can hear me, Mr. Shahzad.
Yo, absolutely.
Shahzad, how are you doing? How is the lesson so far? Are you enjoying the lesson?
Wow, like this is amazing. I wish this existed when I was learning English. Where were you when I was learning English?
I'm sorry, Mr. Shahzad. I was busy. I was busy. I was busy. Okay. Anyway, now I am not busy, so we are going to be doing some Band 9 speaking samples. Mr. Shahzad, I have a question. Do you have these questions, so from learning languages, do you have them available right now? Do you see the screen?
Yes.
Okay. Will you be able to ask me these questions while I'm looking at the vocab?
Absolutely.
Perfect. Let's do it. So let's start. We're going to be doing some Band 9 speaking samples. Part of the homework of this course is to be able to learn to listen very well. One of the things we do is during these Band 9 speaking samples, I want you to write down the ideas that I am using. Not only are you going to be able to use these ideas yourself later, because these are relatively good ideas to answer the questions, also you are practicing your listening, which is very important to be able to improve your speaking. Speaking and listening are connected because they are both, relating to spoken language. And because of this, this is one of the parts of the homework of the course. So what I want you to do right now is take your paper, notebook, whatever you have, and while I'm speaking, try to write down my ideas. Write down what you hear, and then after that, we're going to be talking about it some more. So, Mr. Shahzad, are you ready to ask me the questions?
Yep, let's get started.
Let's do it.
Do you think grammar is important when learning a language?
I think that to master a new language, you must know how the grammar works, but it doesn't have to be to an eloquent level. It doesn't have to be such a high level of grammar. I think you just need to attempt to learn all of the main parts. All of the language that you find intriguing is going to help you to then later become eloquent with the language, to be able to articulate your ideas. If you don't learn the grammar, there are numerous benefits that you're going to be missing and things that you're going to not be able to do because you don't know the grammar. So if you want to speak with great ease, I think it's very important for you to be able to know the grammar and learn it.
Perfect. And yep, the next question is, what qualities should a good language teacher have?
A good language teacher needs to have very good pedagogical skills. They need to be able to convey ideas and knowledge in an interesting way in order for the students to be able to acquire the language rather than learn it. A good teacher should be communicative, expressive, and have very good oral skills, because if a good teacher cannot speak, they cannot teach you to speak. Just generally, also one more thing, I find that teachers that are approachable and that look like they want to be friends with you are the most interesting. If your teacher looks like he hates you already, you're going to have a bad time with the language because you're going to associate the teacher with the language, and that is not a good thing in any way.
Why do people learn foreign languages?
I think that people learn foreign languages because they want to meet new people. I think that is one of the main things. And then whenever you meet these people, regardless of the topic of conversation, you need to be able to have a good connection with these people. It's kind of like acquiring a new means of communication, a new way to communicate. Because when you know a new language, it feels like there's a new part of your brain that is there. Whenever you forget the language after a long period of time, I think it feels like you are losing a part of yourself. And so I think that people learn new languages to meet new people and to just, become a better person, I think, for sure.
And do you think learning a foreign language is important?
To the best of my recollection, nowadays, there is no profession in the world that is more in the process of being developed than teaching. I think, of course, there's IT, there's all these different things that are happening and changing. But from what I know, education is changing the most. There are a lot of initiatives from different people, Bill Gates, all of the world's biggest philanthropists and these people with a lot of money, and they're pouring all that money into education because education is what is going to move the world forward. Once we have discovered, how to move across space and time, the only thing left is to make sure that every single person also knows how to do this. Because if they don't, there's no purpose for people to be on Mars. You're not going to go to Mars if you don't know how to fix a spaceship, how to do this, how to do that, how to do this. And for that, we need good education. So that is why I believe that education and learning languages, learning things, that is the most important thing that needs to be developed right now, for sure.
What can children learn from their parents?
I think that a lot of parents nowadays in different countries, they are very well educated. And I think that one of the best things you can teach your child is how to participate in their school, how to actually learn things from their school. I think one of the biggest complaints that I've heard from students nowadays, for example, in Uzbekistan, is that school doesn't teach you anything. And I think that the best thing that a parent can teach their children is to learn how to do their assignments in school, how to do their coursework, how to write a thesis, not necessarily a college level thesis, but an educational thesis. So I think that all of these things are important, and these are the things that a parent can teach their children. Shahzad, what was the question?
What can children learn from their parents?
Oh, thank God! I thought I heard a different question. My brain turned off for a second. Okay, thank you. Perfect. Next question. Let's do one more.
Do you think learning new things is important?
Sorry, one second. I know that there have been a lot of scientific studies to prove that a brain that doesn't learn is a brain that degrades. It's a brain that becomes less effective. And so if you don't become well educated, if you don't continuously learn new things, you don't revise, you don't review the things that you've learned, you are going to start degrading. You're going to start forgetting things. It's as Elon Musk once said, if you're not going up, you're going down. I don't know whether he really said that, but it definitely sounds like something he would say. And so, yeah, I think that it is incredibly important to continue learning. For me, my biggest fear is to, get some kind of disease like dementia or Alzheimer's where I start forgetting things. And so because of that, I'm always trying to make my brain learn new things. Yeah.
All right. Perfect. Amazing.
Awesome.
Yes. As you guys can see, and Alex, these are like really challenging up questions. And Alex will show you not only Band 9 answers for these app questions, but also how to use the new vocabulary that he's teaching. So it's win-win situation, double benefits. Absolutely. And I hope that my answers were at least somewhat interesting. I try my best to talk about interesting things and not, mundane things. So hopefully it was something that was interesting to listen to as well. Now let's move on to the next part of today's lesson. Keep in mind, for homework, what you need to do is you need to listen to my answers. You're going to get the recording, and you need to write out my ideas. What did I talk about? That is one of the parts of homework and one of the most important things in the speaking course. Learning through acquisition. I'm not going to be teaching you how to answer each question, because memorizing answers is going to get you a terrible mark. But by listening to my answers, listening to the way that I use the vocabulary in the course itself, like if you listened to my answer, you could see that, like, while I'm answering all the questions, I'm moving through the presentation, because these are the words that I'm using. I used almost every single word. I used as many as I could, because these are the words that you should be using. So yeah, once we're done with the Band 9 vocabulary and the Band 9 speaking samples, we're now going to be moving on to a topic, a learning topic. This is something that I need you to learn in order to improve your speaking. More than just vocab, more than just samples, there are topics, information that you need to be learning. So today we're going to be talking about speaking part 2 preparation. We're going to be talking about the most important minute in the speaking test. In my opinion, there are overall 11 to 13, I think 11 to 15 minutes in the speaking test, right? You have part 3, which is somewhere around 4 to 5 minutes, part 1, which is somewhere from 3 to 4 minutes, and then part 2, which is around 3 to 4 minutes. It depends. Part 2 depends on 2 main things: 1 minute preparation time and 2 minutes speaking time. And in my opinion, from the whole test, from all of the minutes of the speaking test, the 1 minute preparation time is when you make or you break your speaking test. If you have a terrible speaking part 2, you are most likely going to move into speaking part 3 with a lot of stress. And part 2 can be the most stressful moment. And how you can avoid this stress, how you can save yourself from failing the speaking test, is by preparing very well. And that is what we're going to be talking about right now. Let's get into some general tips. 3 things. 3 things. Let's talk about it. Number 1, use the correct tenses and vocabulary. Talk about what you're comfortable with. Let's get to this. Use the correct tenses and vocabulary. This, I think, kind of makes sense. You will immediately see your topic. You will see what you're talking about, and you are going to be prepared to use the vocabulary that you know. What I mean by this is you need to analyze immediately, as soon as you get your paper, what your topic is. Is it going to be a situation, an object, or a person? These are the 3 main types of things that you can talk about. And you should have already prepared some kind of beginning phrase. This is actually here. Give me a second. Have your first sentence ready. So you should know what your answer is before you even begin, like as soon as you start. But then again, the next thing is you need to prepare for the topic. Here's what I mean. Let's play a game. Let's play a game right now. So you have a topic, right? Whatever topic it is. You get your paper. There's 2 types. You have paper delivered or you have computer delivered. If you're on the computer, you get like a little picture on the screen. If it's paper delivered, you get a piece of paper. You get your topic and you have 1 minute to prepare. Here's how the 1 minute is divided. Here's how I believe your timing should be. So 1 second to 3 seconds, you need to choose your topic immediately. You need to know exactly what you're going to be within 3 seconds. Again, as I said, there's 3 main things that you could be talking about: a situation, a person, or a object. You need to know exactly what it's going to be after 3 seconds. The next thing is, until you have 45 seconds left, so for 15 more seconds, you have time to think about any kind of ideas that you have. So this is what tenses and vocabulary means. You need to understand, am I going to be talking about something in the past? Am I going to be talking about, for example, one of my birthdays? Am I going to be talking about some kind of object? So I need to be using like present continuous, present simple, all these kinds of tenses. Imagine, what am I going to be talking about? Is it in the past? Is it now? Is it in the future? As soon as you've answered that question, you're going to be visualizing your topics, your tenses, and your vocabulary. Tip number 2, talk about what you're comfortable with. You don't have to cover everything on the card. This is a very important thing. A lot of students ask me, and I'm going to answer this right now, Mr. Alex, I am speaking for part 2, and I am moving away from the topic. I answer some other question. I answer something different. Do not worry, my students, because there is no task achievement for speaking. No task completion, I think it was called. Shahzad, what was the name of the criteria for writing? Is it task achievement or answer achievement? Let me check real quick. I forgot.
It was task achievement. Task
Yeah,
achievement.
task achievement. Okay, good. I was a little bit stressed. Yeah. So task achievement is like for writing whenever you have to answer the question correctly. There's no task achievement for speaking. They don't make sure that you answer every single question one by one. They don't care at all. So basically, you can talk about whatever you're comfortable with and whatever ideas you actually have. If your question says something that you don't know, your cue card. If it says something that you don't know how to answer, forget about it. Ignore it. Don't answer it. You don't have to. Only talk about what you're comfortable with. This is key. Very important. Number two, a lot of students ask me, how much time should I speak for? Should I speak for 2 minutes? Should I speak for less? Speak for 1 minute, 30 seconds. Every day, practice at least once to speak in front of the mirror on some kind of topic for 1 minute, 30 seconds. Time yourself. I have found, because if you've been following IELTS with Experts for a while, I have done over 70, I think something like over 70 speaking part 2 samples. And at this point in my life, I think I am very comfortable with speaking for exactly 2 minutes. I don't know how, but I have timed myself without looking at the clock, and I can speak for 2 minutes naturally because I know roughly what 2 minutes is like. You need to practice speaking for 1 minute, 30 seconds, because if you speak for a little bit longer, it'll be like 1 minute, 50 seconds. Perfect. That is a great amount of time. If you speak for like 20 seconds shorter, 1 minute, 10 seconds. That's not bad. It's not very good, but it's also not bad. The examiner will ask you a follow-up question to make you speak for a little bit longer. So that's it. Don't worry about it. Just speak for 1 minute, 30 seconds, practice speaking in front of the mirror, and you will have the perfect amount of time. That's it. But very important, you need to practice. If you don't practice, then you're going to not know how to do this. So let's actually, let's do this right now. Let's get a little bit of practice in. I am going to be asking questions. So we're going to practice what I said a couple minutes ago. I talked about, of course, the topic, like, thinking of the answer in 3 seconds. So I'm going to be asking you guys questions from speaking part 2, only the topic. And I want you to write down the topic. Okay. So for example, if the question is a place where you can learn, the answer will be like the Alisher Navoy Library. Alisher Navoy Library. Only 3 words, only the topic. And where I want you to write the answer is the Alex Native IELTS chat. So I'm going to send the link into the group right now. You're going to be able to see it. Give me 1 moment. We're going to be just talking about all of the topics. Give me 1 second. Give me a second. Yeah, task response. That is also a good one. Great. Dee. Okay, here we go. Bang and shbang. Okay, and copy post link and shebang. Okay, so I sent it into IELTS with Experts and also into Alex Native IELTS. So we're going to be talking right there, right now. Okay, 1 moment. Okay, I think everybody should be there right now. I think you guys are seeing it. Give me 1 moment. Okay, so there's a timer in the chat, which means that you can only answer like every couple of seconds. I'm going to make this a little bit lower so you can answer a little bit quicker. Give me a moment. So now you can answer every, let's say 30 seconds. So every 30 seconds, so we're going to be answering like one by one all the topics. Let's get into it. So please don't type anything just yet. Wait for a moment. And then once I tell you the topic, I want you to write down all of your ideas in there. We will be reading these ideas and I'll be telling you, like good, not good, whatever. Try to think of the answer in 3 seconds, okay? So once again, here's what's going to happen. I'm going to read a topic, okay? I want you to listen to it, and then I'm going to count 3. In 3 seconds, write your answer into Alex Native IELTS chat. I hope everybody's ready. Let's get into it. So, voice calibration. Okay, I would like you to describe something you own which is very important to you. So we have 3 seconds. Write your answer in Alex Native IELTS chat as quickly as possible. 3, 2, 1. I see 6 people typing. 7 people typing. Ah, yeah, there we go. Good. Oh, my Lord. Good. Someone said my cat. Family. Okay. Someone said my laptop. Great. Laptop and cell phone are the most popular topics, and I think they are the easiest to talk about for this question. Watch and phone are also pretty good. Someone said family. 2 people said family. Keep in mind, your family is not an object. You don't own your family. But here's what you can do, because this is another part of speaking part 2 skills. So there is no task achievement. As I said, there's no task response, right? You don't have to answer the question, which means that if your answer is a little bit different from the question, that is perfectly fine. Nobody cares. So for example, if the question is describe something you own which is helpful to you, you can begin your speech like this. I would like to tell you about something I own which is important to me, and this is my family. I don't necessarily own every person in my family, but they are a part of me, which is why I want to tell you about them. My family is important because no. That's it. And now the answer is perfectly fine. If I gave this answer during the test, if any of you gave the answer during the test, you would still get the same mark. I would still get 9 because they don't measure you for task response. You don't need to answer the question exactly. So keep that in mind. That is good. Okay, so you can stop writing for right now. We're going to be regenerating our 30 seconds. We're going to be regenerating our lesson time. By the way, today's lesson is going to be a little bit longer. Shahzad, is it okay if we go a little bit longer? Do you think it's fine? You think it's fine?
Oh, it's even better.
It's even better. Usually lessons in the intensive speaking course are 1 hour. Today we're going to be doing, I think, around 1 hour, 15 minutes of the lesson. And then in addition, we will be doing 30 minutes feedback, something like that, so that you can understand what kind of feedback is given during the intensive speaking course. As I said, there is feedback every single day, 2 times from our Band 8 speaking assistants. But I give feedback at the end of the course for 8 sessions. There are 8 feedback sessions so that every student can get as much feedback from me as possible. So yeah, let's get into it. Here's the next topic. So pause. I think all of us have regenerated our speaking time. Our typing time. Here's the next topic. Okay, so I will read it. Once again, you will have 3 seconds to write your answer. Let's do it. I would like you to describe, and this topic is a little bit more difficult, a special gift or present that you gave to someone. Type it into the chat. Alex Native IELTS. You have 3 seconds. Let's go. Hopefully you guys have regenerated. A special gift or present that you gave to someone. 3, 2, 9 people are typing. Oh yeah, 10 people are typing. Yeah. 2, and 1. If you haven't typed your answer, I hope you at least thought about it. It is very important just to have your answer in 3 seconds. There's a lot of these questions, and all you need to do is you need to just read the question, and then as soon as you think of the question, write it down with your hand. That's it. Humans, people, we have this magical ability. We can actually read and write at the same time. Here's one more mistake that a lot of people make. I tell a lot of people, prepare for speaking part 2. Start your preparation. And here's what they do. This is like a dramatic recreation. I am an artist. I'm an actor. And they read like this for 30 seconds. And then 30 seconds later, they go, okay, and they start writing. You know what happens? They write down 5 words, 3 words, 2 words. They don't write anything down because they're not doing it correctly. Here's how you do it correctly. Topic. A present or gift you gave to someone. A book. Next topic. And while you are writing, you are reading at the same time. Like this. That's it. You have a brain and you have a hand, and they can work separately. They don't have to work together at the same time. So keep that in mind. Very important. This is just like a physical skill. A lot of people make this mistake. Do not make this mistake. Someone said Blackpink album. That is beautiful. Thank you. I wish that somebody gifted me that. Also money, watch, wall clock, laptop. Let's see what else. Picture of my mom. That's cute. Beard trimmer. Olam John, please gift me a beard trimmer. I wish I had one. I have to use like a normal thing. It makes me very sad. Silver ring, clothes, AirPods. Wow, Shahzad, I see how it is. Okay, great. So thank you all so much. Great. I hope you kind of understood how this works. You need to write your topic after 2 to 3 seconds. As quickly as possible, write it down immediately, and that is the basis of good preparation. So thank you all so much for participating within that activity. Let's continue with the lesson. Here's the next thing. You'll be given paper and a pencil to make notes. You can keep both the task card, cue card, and your notes to look at throughout your talk. So you can look at the questions and your notes. You can look at both of them. Do not give back the paper. Only give it back after you finish the talk. And generally, you can just keep the paper until the end of the test. If you have the computer version, you can just keep it there. Like, they don't really care. Lastly, let's talk about some more tips. Let me breeze through these real quick. Give me a second. Here we go. The 1 minute preparation time in part 2 of IELTS will go by very quickly. Absolutely true. It feels like the longest minute, but also the shortest minute of your life. It is a very stressful time, and you have to really work hard to make this minute count because, as I said, it is a very important minute. Get your idea quickly. 1 to 5 seconds to answer. That's it. 1 to 5 seconds. No more. No more. Don't think for too long. The first idea that you get is the one that you should use. Like, you know, maybe your idea is something that is like bad, right? Something terrible, and you don't want to talk about that. That's okay. Sure. If it's like a personal experience for you and you feel like you're going to start crying while you're speaking about it, don't speak about it. But the first idea that you think of, if it's not like something completely out of the water, completely terrible, you can talk about it. It doesn't matter what it is, even if it's embarrassing. Number 2, get a structure ready. Spend the remaining 45 seconds on the structure. You can use the cue card questions. They are usually very well organized. If you look at a classical, like any normal cue card, let me actually Google a cue card right now. If you look at any cue card, for example, describe a special gift or present you gave to someone. Here are the questions. You should say who gave the gift to you, what the gift was, where you got it from, and explain why this gift was special. If you think about it, really, here is how it works. Describe a gift or present you gave to someone. Who gave it to you? Well, I would like to tell you about a gift, which was a book, and I gave this book to my best friend. This is background information. You are talking about, like, you know, what happened before the gift itself. What the gift was, where you got it from. These are the next 2 questions. This is like the main body. So the first 2 questions are kind of like the introduction. The next 2 questions are kind of like the body. You're talking about, you know, the book was about money. I think my friend was very poor, so I decided to give it to him so he would become a millionaire. And then the last question is, and explain why this gift was special. Now you're wrapping up. You're saying, okay, so I think it was special because my friend finally became a millionaire after 10 days. That's the conclusion. You're wrapping everything up. So this is literally like a writing structure. Keep in mind that your speaking structure should be very similar to the writing structure. This is for part 2. This is the backbone and this is the key. If you listen to any of my samples, I always start with an introduction and I always end with a conclusion. This is not just because it's easier to speak this way. It is because it is easier to listen this way. Keep in mind, your job is to make the examiner understand what you're talking about. If you move from topic to topic for 2 minutes, your examiner is going to feel assaulted. He's going to feel like you're trying to kill him because he's not going to understand what you're talking about. So keep that in mind. Speak simple and the examiner will listen simple. That's it. Yes. Shebanga shabanga. Let's move on to the next topic. Write down your key points. Write down only the topic-related words. Do not write down the word my. Do not write down the word a, the, he, she, him. Those words do not matter. Only the topic-related words. Here's an example. You know, the same question, a present you gave to somebody, book, millionaire, friend, poor, like reading, etc., etc., etc. Only the keywords, please. If I see another person writing down words like, I gave my friend a book, I will be very angry. Do not do that. That is the stupidest thing you can do. Do not do it. Lastly, have your first sentence ready before you begin talking. You need to already know how to begin your speech. I would like to tell you a bit about how I found a book in the bookstore. This book was, whatever. This structure is the same structure I use for every single one of my Band 9 speaking samples. And you know why? Because it's simple. While I'm saying that, I can think of the rest of the things that I'm going to say. I can say this phrase, this entire phrase, in my sleep. If you wake me up at 10 o'clock in the morning, I don't wake up that early usually. You wake me up and you say, Mr. Alex, answer this question. I will say, I would like to tell you a little bit about a book that I really enjoyed reading. Literally, I don't have to think about it, and you should not think about the phrases that you remember. This is the only phrase that I recommend you to actually memorize completely because it'll make it a lot easier. It'll make your life a lot easier. That's it. So those are the main tips for speaking part 2 preparation. Let's talk about what you should not do. Never do these things. Number 1, don't memorize your full answer. Simple. Just don't do it. You're going to fail. You're going to begin speaking, and in the middle of it, you're going to be looking like this. Don't do it. Don't memorize it. Don't try to learn lots of expressions that are far above your level. If I hear another person saying something like, it's raining cats and dogs, you don't know what that means. You know that it means it's raining, but you don't understand the context behind it. Don't learn the phrases that you don't completely understand. Don't speak them. Don't use them. You don't need them. You only need the things that you actually understand. It doesn't raise your level. Okay, IELTS is not like a game where the more vocabulary words you know, the higher your score is going to be. It's not. They don't care. If they hear you using that, they're going to think, oh, okay, he memorized his answer. Cool. Don't do that. Don't waste your 1 minute preparation time. Absolutely. We just talked about this. Do not rush. Breathe slowly. Begin and breathe slowly. Always. Speaking part 2, as soon as you get to it, I would like to tell you, slowly, just relax, feel calm. The examiner, if they see that you're stressed, they're going to feel stressed themselves because their job is for you to not be stressed. The examiner is supposed to make you feel comfortable. And so if you're not feeling comfortable, the examiner is going to feel worse about it. Keep that in mind. I don't think they really care that much, but just generally, it is their job to make you feel comfortable. A lot of examiners, they smile a lot because when they smile, you feel more happy. And that is their job. That is what they're supposed to do. And lastly, do not give the cue card back. I don't know if anybody has ever done this, but if they did, that's not good. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, let's continue. 1 sec. My throat is absolutely dead. Oh my Lord. Let me drink some more water. Guys, by the way, the official sponsor of the intensive speaking course number 3 is Hydrolife. I love Hydrolife so much. Drink it instead of Nestle. Nestle is the worst water in the world. Shahzad, can you tell us a bit more about why you like Hydrolife so much?
It just tastes amazing. Like whenever you drink it, you're just on top of the world. You feel happy, and like it cures depression. Yes.
Absolutely. It's just,
Yes.
it makes me happy in my soul right here. Okay,
Yes.
let's move on to the next part of today's lesson. And this is actually one of the newest parts of this course. This is one of the things that we are adding, and we're trying to see how this will help students. Whether it's going to be important, very important, how good is it? It is interaction. So what we're going to do is we are now going to watch a video together. I'm going to put this video up on the screen, and we're going to watch it together. And then afterwards, we're going to be discussing it. We're going to be discussing it once again in the chat. And here are the 2 questions that you should think about. We will be talking about these later. So the video is like 3 minutes. I'm going to play it right now. And then, as I said, once again, we'll be discussing. Let me put the chat right here. 1 sec. At Alex Native IELTS chat. This is the chat where we will be discussing today, right now. But in the course, we will have a private chat only for speaking course students. A lot of people today, I think, are watching just because they want to get a free lesson. And maybe necessarily they're not level, maybe their level is not necessarily that high. I love it when people get free lessons and they want to watch things and they want to learn. But whenever you are learning, you need to be talking to people that are your level. You need to be talking not to people that are lower than you. You need to be talking to people that are your level or higher. And that is why we have a private Telegram group only for our students who are going to be talking to each other. You're going to be able to just discuss and talk about any concepts that you want with your peers, which is very important. This is something that was missing from the other intensive speaking courses, and we realized that it's very important for students to talk to each other. So that is what we're going to do, and that is what we're going to implement to improve everything. So let's watch the video, and we are going to be then discussing. This is one of the ways of interaction. The second way is just a question, IELTS question, which we'll discuss. This is also more interesting in my opinion. Let's do it. So here's the video. Give me a moment. One momente. Oh no. Okay. Here we go. Wait. Okay. So I'm going to play the audio. If you can hear the audio, please raise your hand in the chat.
That education is hugely important.
Okay, so could you hear that? If you can hear the audio, please raise your hand in the chat right now. Shahzad, does the audio work?
The thing is, we're not particularly sure.
Yeah, fantastic. Yeah.
Perfect. Let's do it. Let's get into it. Let's watch the video, and then afterwards we're going to be discussing. Sorry.
Everyone agrees that education is hugely important. The thing is, we're not particularly sure what we want from it. The aim of education should be to prepare us for the challenges of adult life. Yet from this perspective, it's clear that schools fail all but a tiny portion of their students. Whether in highly academic private schools or in deprived government-run ones, trouble dealing with life's challenges remains very widespread indeed. Human ingenuity, energy, goodwill and talent is being lost on an industrial scale. To get more ambitious about education doesn't necessarily mean spending more money, building more schools, employing more teachers, or making exams more difficult. Rather, it should mean focusing more on the real purpose of education. There are two fundamental tasks it should help us with: working and sustaining good relationships. In order to address these needs, a future national curriculum might specify that the following subjects be studied. Firstly, capitalism. A conspiracy of silence exists around the economic system we live within. We find it hard to change its bad sides or defend its strengths because we simply don't fully understand how it works. A subject like maths should be geared to teaching its number one utility for 99% of the population: dealing with money. Such classes would demystify the global economy by teaching students the importance of the means of production and how profits are made. The role of cash flow, HR, leadership, marketing and competition would also be studied. In a perfect school system, you'd also then study a really big second subject: yourself. Young students would be introduced to the idea that we humans are extremely prone to misunderstanding ourselves. They would be taken through the concepts of delusion, defensiveness, projection and denial in everyday life. Individual tutors would be on hand to help students draw personality maps with particular attention paid to their neuroses and fears. Doing this would ensure that students learn a lot about how complex they truly are and what types of people they would be best suited to hang out with. A crucial unit would be devoted to career self-knowledge. What job are you best suited to? Students would spend 3 hours a week exploring what they might do with their futures. Then one would study relationships. Being intensely aware of the social and individual cost of every unhappy relationship, an ideal education system would emphasize the acquisition of skills that help people to live better together. There would be units on kindness and forgiveness, as well as on anxiety reduction techniques. In this educational utopia, it wouldn't only be children who would go to school, but adults as well. Schooling would be for life. Education wouldn't just be taking place in classrooms. Media and the arts would be made to maximize their teaching potential and help to teach people what they actually need to learn. We're so hung up on the challenges of running a massive education system, we're failing to pinpoint the real source of its problems. These aren't primarily about money, salaries, or discipline. These are really only a consequence of a more fundamental problem. Right now, and with no one quite meaning for this to happen, we've simply got the wrong curriculum.
All right, so that's the end of the video. This is quite a cool channel, and let me give like a little short analysis on what I think about the video and what I think about the information. Generally, this is actually a very studied topic, and this is something that a lot of people have been talking about. This is something that a lot of people have been talking about, that the school system, not only in the US, because this video is primarily about the USA, but also in other countries, for example, in Uzbekistan, it is teaching information that people don't need. Instead of, all of these topics connected to science, even though they're important, science, mathematics, very important things. Instead of that, we should also have topics like business, topics like money, capitalism. And also, as you can see, they also talked about understanding yourself. A lot of students don't understand, why do they feel sad? Why do they feel happy? All of these very important topics. And because of that, we have to learn them from outside places. So that's, I think, mainly what the video is about. It is quite a cool video. It's really short, but it's very informative. I liked it. I like the YouTube channel, The School of Life. I recommend you to watch some more in the future. But yeah, let's now do a little bit of a discussion. So those are my ideas. Now I want to hear and I want to read your ideas. One second. Okay, so here's the main question, or here are the main questions, and you can answer question number 1. You can answer question number 2. Wait one sec. Okay, there we go. Here are the questions. I put them in the chat, Alex Native IELTS chat. So you can write your ideas there right now. So I'm going to give you like 2 minutes to write down your ideas. You don't necessarily have to write down, every single idea that you have, and you don't have to write down all of the words. Just choose whichever question you want to answer and talk a little bit about it. Just the main things, and then we will continue from there. I want to see like a couple answers. I will read your answers, and then we can discuss. And then after that, we'll move on to the next part of the lesson. Mr. Shahzad, how are you feeling? Mr. Shahzad might be a little bit busy right now, so let me tell you how I'm feeling.
Yo, I'm here.
You're here? You good? How are you feeling, Mr. Shahzad?
Oh, amazing. The lesson is like absolutely amazing. I enjoyed it, honestly.
Me too. I'm having a really good time. I've been doing some other lessons in this time. I've done some a couple offline lessons. I've done some recorded lessons, like just video recording. And honestly, the speaking course is like really comfortable. I just forgot just how comfortable it is and how much I enjoyed it. I think that my favorite part at this point is definitely the interaction. I really like talking to students. I think it's cool, and I'm glad that we added this. Right now, 16 people are typing, so I'm very excited to read some of your ideas and to talk about this. And one more thing is, personally for me, why I'm enjoying this topic so much is because this is something that I'm struggling with myself. This is like I'm a teacher, and more than just like a school teacher or like a learning center teacher who teaches for money, just teaches to earn money. I'm trying to change things. I'm trying to find new options, new things to happen in the world. And that is why I enjoyed this video. Mr. Azad, what do you think about the video that we watched? How did you feel about it, and what kind of ideas do you have connected to this?
Oh, that was quite informative. I was actually thinking about and discussing about it the other day with my own students, and I partially agree. And I would say that the school system, particularly in Asian countries, need a huge transformation, especially in terms of the amount of subjects and the way the lessons are conducted. The huge transformation is absolutely needed, I would say.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, it might be counterintuitive. A lot of people tell me, Mr. Alex, why did you come to Uzbekistan? Why Uzbekistan, Mr. Alex? And whenever I tell them, I enjoy Uzbekistan, they say, why? You cannot enjoy Uzbekistan. No, I disagree. I think that Uzbekistan, it has its problems. Every country has problems. But at the same time, I feel like Uzbekistan has a lot of room for growth. And I feel like, it would be very difficult for me to change anything in the US. First of all, people are already trying to change things. People that have a lot more influence than me, and people that control things much more than I do. But in Uzbekistan, I feel like there are some ways to go. There are still things that I could do to help people. And I that's why I enjoy being here, because I feel like, things actually change when I try to change them. And that's important. Okay. So yeah, thank you so much for listening to my monologue and for listening to me. Just generally, I've had a lot of ideas about all this stuff, and it's a big part of my life, and this is why this is today's topic, because I like this topic. Okay, I'm gonna read some of your answers, a couple of them that I think are interesting. Donald Uzb has answered a question. As you know, the education is very poor in our country. So the solution to this burning issue would be to firstly make the rules of school more strict. I mean, education should be under control, or if not, works should make the schools not free, but with education fee. Because if parents spend more money, they can make children to learn everything. And by this, they will pay more attention to them. Interesting. I think it's interesting. It depends on what you mean by strict. I feel like a lot of students nowadays, they are not participating in the school system, but I don't think it's completely their fault. I feel like if it was like, combination, students work harder and school is better. And through this, that's how we move forward. Because I think a lot of students, indeed, they are not very interested in learning. So I think it's a combination. I think partially you are correct, Donald Uzb. Shahzad answered both questions. If there are some needless subjects, such as musicians or drawing, instead of those subjects, the schools should conduct more stimulating lessons. Adding business would be nice, for sure. It depends on the country. College is much more important abroad. On the other hand, in Uzbekistan, in order to be accepted to college, a learner's college grades must be tough. Okay, interesting. The first thing that you wrote, actually, about the music or drawing, I feel like to some extent maybe, but also I feel like music and drawing are very important to develop a person's creativity. There's actually been a study done that children before school and children after school, 10% of people say, once they finish school, that they are creative. Whereas before school, like 100% of children say they are creative. And so I think that music and drawing are very important to keep people creating new ideas. Because if people are just learning without making anything, I feel like that is a problem. So I disagree with you, but I also agree with you. Next topic is Aziza something. First answer. In my point of view, the national curriculum should be improved by adopting global experience of developed countries, like adding some new subjects that promote critical thinking, subjects that concern global issues. Great. Very, very interesting and very grammatically developed answer. Absolutely. I agree with you 100% that education shouldn't be local. The world is not local anymore. There's no place other than maybe some countries in Africa, unfortunately, that is just by itself. Every place is connected. Even if you live in Uzbekistan, people know about Uzbekistan. There's a lot of people that know about Uzbekistan. I know about Uzbekistan. And the world is becoming more and more connected every single day because of the internet. And education should keep that in mind. Education should not be local. It should be global. Let me answer one more. Mr. Azizbek Zaripov. Having been studying at school for nearly 9 years, I came to the strong conclusion that the education system in my country lacks some very important subjects, such as marketing, human sciences, and communication. These types of subjects basically teach valuable lessons that help to overcome difficult situations in life. Absolutely, it's true. It really is true. There are a lot of subjects that you don't have, very unfortunately. And this is not just a problem with Uzbekistan. It's a problem in the whole world, and this is what the video was about. The school curriculum generally does not teach the things that you need to learn. And the things that you mentioned in your answer, they are definitely the things we need to learn. Okay, cool. So that was great. I really enjoyed it. Thank you all for writing down your answers. Great answers. There are two things to keep in mind. Number one, interaction is important because communication is important. You need to talk in order to learn. And by answering these questions, I read your answers, other students read your answers, you can start discussions, you can start talking. And talking is what is going to make your score, right? Like imagine learning, right? You imagine learning like this. You learn a topic, you go up. Another topic, go up. And it's like linear. Whenever you start talking in English and you start creating new ideas, your learning goes like this. Exponential. It goes up much faster. So keep that in mind. This is why interaction is important, and this is why we included this in the course. Also, because generally I enjoy this. I want to hear your ideas. I want to talk to you. I really didn't like not being able to talk to students during the first 2 intensive speaking courses. So now we're adding this, and we're going to be talking to you all the time. It's going to be awesome. And the last part of today is going to be feedback. There's also a homework section. One second. There's also a homework section during the speaking course where we, of course, we do some homework. The homework is very layered. There's a lot of homework, and we're going to be making a post with Mr. Shahzad, I think, about this later down the line. We're going to be explaining how all of the homework works because, as I said, there's a lot of homework. Now we're going to be doing some feedback. I think, unfortunately, I'm incredibly tired at this point. My head kind of hurts. So we're going to be choosing 3 people, and I'm going to be giving feedback to you. how I'm going to choose people is going to be based on, let's do this, based on how interesting your answer is. So I'm going to be reading your answers from the chat, and then I'm going to be unmuting you based on that. So give me a second. Let me read some more answers. Okay. Okay, let's do this. So here are the 3 people that I want to raise their hands. So please raise your hands. Actually, here let's start with the first person, Mr. Shahzad. Not you, just the other Shahzad. Your bio says small step small, result big. So please raise your hand in the chat so that I can see you.
Yes, Shahzad. Yes, he's a great guy. Choose him.
He is. Yes, I will. Absolutely. Shahzad, where is he? Okay, I don't see him. Shahzad, please stay here and raise your...
Wait. Shahzad, she's Shahzad.
Okay.
Yo, Shahzad, say hi. Shahzad.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night. See you. Bye-bye.
No, I'm just joking. Good evening.
Good evening. Happy to see you. All right, Shahzad, are you ready? I'm going to be asking you a question. I'm going to be asking you one of the questions from today's lesson, and I'm going to be giving you feedback based on your answer. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. All right. So wait, pause. Okay. So this is the end of the lesson. During the pause. This is for the recording, so please don't leave. This is the end of the recorded lesson. Thank you all so much for participating and watching today's lesson. It is Shahzad. Are you eating your microphone? Stop eating your microphone. Okay.
No, it's not me.
It's not me. Silence. So, thank you for watching today's recorded lesson. We are starting the intensive speaking course on the 29th of November. I'm very excited to see all of you there, and I hope that by watching this demo lesson, you learned a bit about how the course works. Usually lessons are going to be 1 hour long, not longer usually, but today I was really into the topic because I really enjoy the topic of education. It's important for me, which is why it was a bit longer. So thank you for participating, and now we're going to be giving feedback the same way that we'll be giving feedback during the intensive speaking course, number 3. Okay, I'm going to stop the recording now.